What's up, my fellow Constellation Explorers? Your dude Sly here, and welcome back to another Starfield vid. You know, it's been a while since we had any new info drop by way of a trailer or Constellation video, and since Bethesda decided not to show anything new at the Game Awards, by the way, shame on you, Todd, this latest Constellation video is here to sate our appetites for new Starfield info. Now, it's not groundbreaking, you know, with a ton of crazy information, but it does definitely hold a few new tidbits. So let's go ahead and dive into it. First of all, if you wish to check out this video unadulterated, free from my crusty voice, check the link down below in the description box and definitely take a look at that. Now, this latest Constellation video comes by way of Constellation questions, and it's a small list of community questions that's been compiled to the lead quest designer on Starfield, Will Shin. Now, it's roughly a 5-minute video, so it's definitely not packed to the brim with all kinds of mind-blowing questions, but there is definitely some cool things to be picked up on. So let's go ahead and get to it. The first of which, random encounters. Now, a question was asked how Starfield handles random encounters. Quote, one of the best things about previous games were random encounters that you have in the world. How has the random encounter system been improved or expanded upon, if at all? And the answer, I think, is pretty damn cool. When you think of planets within Starfield, you always think of something static, right? You know, like you go into the atmosphere, you land, you build an outpost. That outpost stays there and will always be there because it's built, well, on a static planet. Well, apparently Bethesda created a system that can create stuff on any planet you land on. It's best to think of this system as kind of like a cache within the game that they can pull out any kind of scenario and then plop it on a planet. It'll create an outpost or a base, fill it with people, and give those NPCs problems that you can solve. So instead of everyone having to do, this same quest on this same planet, the quest will show itself on various locations, and it kind of builds itself in that moment. So no matter what planet you visit or you live on, you will always be able to have those random interaction moments as the encounters are created in real time anywhere in the systems, which I think is pretty fucking cool if you ask me. So Bethesda basically has like a library of these virtual locations, bases, abandoned factories, crashed ships, stuff like that, and the NPCs and quests are built into these events. They can then take that location along with all the quests and all the people and NPCs and then plop that down on any planet or moon that you're visiting in the game. This way you don't have to fly to planet X or this outpost just to try this one random quest. That way they pretty much come to you, which I think is pretty awesome. Alright y'all, so moving on to question number 2. Quote, we can see what looks like Earth's own solar system in the Starfield gameplay trailer. Will there be quests taking us back there and exploring how things have changed? Now, this question could have popped out of my own mouth. I mean, you see what looks to be a Curiosity rover in one of the trailers. And if we were able to explore Mars, what else can we do there? Well, it turns out, according to Will, there is a ton of shit to do in the Sol system. Not only is there a quest called the Old Neighborhood, in which we find out what happens to Earth and Sol system, but more so than that, it turns out there's actually an old city on Mars called Cydonia, assumingly named after the region of Mars it was built in. But the cool thing is that this city is still running to this day, filled with people and problems to solve. So I bet that's going to be a pretty interesting location, especially since it's so close to Earth. And this is, humanity's first civilization off of planet Earth. And if it's still there, as we, spread among the stars, then I think it's going to be a pretty cool event to see. Okay, so moving on to the next question. How will faction quest lines work compared to other Bethesda games? Can we join all of them and complete all, or does joining one lock you out of another? So Will doesn't exactly answer this question outright. It seems like there's a mix of circumstances involving factions. Now, he does say that you can influence all of them, but it seems like you can only really heavily influence just one at a time. Now, he doesn't exactly say outright, but that's the feeling I'm getting here. He does say that you can play through all the faction lines independently of each other, but he does not say if that means other larger faction quests will be locked out if you complete, an earlier one. Now, I'm assuming that factions play a deep role in the game's critical path, or aka storyline, and that means having to choose. But it is cool that you can play around with all the factions, even if you cannot lead every single one. Okay, so moving on to the next question here. what roles do companions play in Starfield? And this one here is kind of cool. On top of the normal companion NPC mechanics that you're going to encounter during the main story, campaign, or quest line, your companions can actually represent you and speak for you to other factions or people within the game. So if, for example, you're wanted for something or outlawed by a faction, you can actually send a crewmate of yours to speak on your behalf, which is pretty freaking cool. Now, what I really wonder here is if outcomes change depending on your relationship status with that individual that you're sending out. Like if, for instance, you treat someone like dog shit and then you send them to speak to another faction. Can that crewmate, since he doesn't really like you, can he start a war with another faction? Or hell, even betray you? Those implications, really have me thinking and are pretty freaking awesome, depending on how deep, of course, the system goes. But either way, I am definitely excited to test the limits. If you can be betrayed, then I'm sure the opposite is also true, that if you treat your crew like family, then perhaps certain quest lines can only be obtained if you have a high approval rating or a high relationship status with an individual. Again, the possibilities have me pretty excited. If that is the case, then I'm pretty sure there will be some prestigious quests that only a certain percentage of players will actually be able to achieve due to high relationship status, or you have to have approval rating of 100% with all your crew or something crazy like that, that perhaps maybe unlocks a special spacesuit or weapon or ship or something like that. So I'm definitely excited to see what all you can coax out of that. The cool thing is that on top of them speaking or handling certain quests on your behalf, NPCs will also be of use like other Bethesda games, backing you up by helping you defend places, following you into battle, carrying equipment, or trading items. And of course, don't forget that they actually fly your ship as well. They're part of your crew. Bethesda developer Will Shen goes on to say that you will be determining the fates of certain companions as well, as in if they live or die. So I'm excited to see how many companions Starfield are going to tease us with. But yeah, that's really about it, my friends. Those are all the questions from the main video. And like I said, not a lot of stuff to go over, but what is there is pretty freaking awesome. Quests and cities on Mars, random encounters that are truly random. It can happen anywhere, regardless of the planet, via the new tech Starfield is using, a deep companion system and faction system. This is one game that I really cannot wait to play, guys. As a Mass Effect fanboy, this is definitely right up my alley. So keep it here on SlyNation, as there are plenty of more Starfield videos on the way. The closer we get to launch, the more there will be to talk about, and once the game goes live, I cannot wait to start diving into the various secrets spread across the different solar systems. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting my channel, SlyNation. Be sure to spank the thumbs up or down if you liked, loved, or hated this video, and if you wish to get in touch, business or otherwise, feel free to hit me up anytime. SlyNationGaming67@gmail.com, or check me out over on the socials, at Sly_Nation on Twitter, SlyNation Gaming on good old Facebook. Keep it here for plenty more Starfield videos as we get closer to launch, but until then, this is your dude Sly, and I'll see you all in the next one.